Adjust your crown. Check the crease in your slacks. The wood is calling, and the rhythm don't lie.
It's a silent conversation.
Yeah. Adjust your crown.
You're probably like, what happened?
Check the crease in your slacks.
Oh my goodness.
The wood is calling, and the rhythm don't lie. Chicago, let's glide. Yeah.
The lightening's low, music's bouncing off the walls. We're leaving the static and the drama out in the hall. Step into the room, can you smell that? The sweet perfume. The floor is nice and packed, clearing out the gloom. I see you over there catching that 8-count beat. The way you're moving, girl, you're making the air feel sweet. It's a silent conversation, a language without a sound. Just the echo of leather soles dancing on holy ground. And the world can be heavy, the world can be cold, but in this circle we got something to hold. It's a slow burn, baby, a magnetic pull. The room is vibrating, let my spirits full. So let the bass line breathe, let the melody spin. In this house of rhythm, the shadows grow thin. Through the highs and the lows, through the thick and the thin. Hand on your waist, the dance will always win.
Views and opinions expressed in this program are not necessarily those of its hosts, Urban Arts Enterprises, its advertisers, or affiliates, and are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect any view or position of any entities they represent. The information in this podcast is for educational purposes only and does not constitute legal or medical advice. What up, y'all? Okay, so it's Tuesday and it's 7 o'clock, and that means inside stepping. Y'all know what it is, dog. Hey, hey, y'all, it's been a hell of a day. We have had a fantastic time. Everything is doing, man, when I tell y'all things is thangin', I love it when things is thangin'. Hello, everyone. KD in the building. What's up, girl? Let's see who else we got in here. I can't, y'all, I got to put these daggone glasses back on because I can't see jack. That close up, that close up stuff be getting me. Faye Sanders, how you doing? Bernice Newsom Short. Riri, what's up, girl? Miss Bobby 1977, how you doing? In the building. It's good to see everybody. Val Wells, how you doing? So, y'all, I got to jump right into this because tonight's show is probably going to run a little bit long. See the producer lady, she over there. You always starting stuff. Val Wells, how you doing, dear? Val, I'm glad you tuned in. This is gonna be this one is. I got a few points I got to hit on this show tonight, y'all. Some stuff that is apparently some controversial stuff. Some things that are interesting. Some things that some of you are going to absolutely want to give some thought to, and even potentially, deal with on your own. But it's so much stuff. It's so much. Okay. CG Inc., how you doing? Gwen Ferris, how you doing? Good to see you. Dennis Howard Hodges, my man Pastor D out there in San Diego. How you doing, sir? Karen Foster, how you doing, dear? Love you. Okay, so y'all, I got a phone call today. I'm going to start this off because I got to segue into some other areas. However, this phone call that came through today was a bit disturbing. Now, to be honest with you, I'm still kind of processing what took place, what I was told. And I'm going to say what I was told because what I'm going to do, I'm going to reference this in the alleged status. You know how they say allegedly. And it's only because this being one of those, how you get third-party information. However, This came from sort of the horse's mouth. So a young lady was at an event recently. And this is going to, by the way, segue into where I'm going with tonight's show, because this is going to be a lot of very valuable information tonight. Y'all need to pay attention. Young lady was at an event, a local event. And y'all know I've been encouraging everybody to try as hard as they can to repair their local sets, their local relationships. But I ain't gonna lie, y'all, I that is one monumental task, simply because so many people have made so much bad blood by being bad actors. And it has really gotten to a place where I fear to say that the steppers community at large in general is the eye is getting blacker. The black eyes are just, they're going around. I don't care what city you live in. And it's getting to the point where the disrespect has grown so strong among people that it is very difficult for people to try and make corrections and straighten things out and do some of the stuff that needs to be done in order to make the community flourish on a local level. You can't. It's like almost like having national politics, but you forgot about your local politicians, and you expect somebody from your city or your state to go represent you in Washington, but they haven't even been able to do it in a local arena because they just never. This stuff is so closely connected to politics and so toxic that it's a shame. Let me get back to the story. So, young lady called and she said to me, now let's go back some time ago. I got a phone call from a young lady who was telling me that she was having difficulties getting dances, and I've talked about this in the past where, you ladies, y'all spend all of this money, you go to these big events, you go all over the country, and you get there and you struggle to get the simplest dance from the people that are there. And it's not necessarily anybody's fault. It's just, that's just kind of the way things go, especially since we know that there's a shortage of men in the community. Anyway, she goes to a set this week. I guess it was this week. And she told me that particular night, she was having the time of her life. She was dancing her tail off. She was getting dances left and right. Men were asking her to dance. She was having a great, great time. The promoter, now I'm going to say allegedly, the promoter came to her at some point and said to her, I'm going to need you to get out of the way. Go sit down somewhere so the other people can have an opportunity to dance. Now, I have to put sort of a bookmark right here, because for one, and this is in no way to suggest that this lady's story does not hold weight or water, but in a journalistic respect, I must weigh what I was told. And I have to do that because there have been too many times where I have gotten stories that have been, and I don't want to say manipulated because I don't believe that she would do that. She has no reason to do that. But there's always another side. But here's the thing. It doesn't matter in this case to me whether or not there's another side. And the reason why I don't care about that is because when we come to a party, when we go out to dance, we go there to have a good time. We go there to dance and enjoy ourselves, regardless of who's there, any of the unusual sometimes circumstances, the toxic people. It's kind of like going to church. You got toxic folks all up in the church, but you go anyway. You go and you enjoy yourself for what it is there to give you, which is what anybody should do. And I personally don't believe that anyone should step in and interfere with that person's enjoyment if they are not being disruptive. I don't know what the entire set of circumstances were, but my point for this is, and I've told y'all this before, when you go to these events and you are participating in these parties, you have to be able and willing to vote with your dollars at these events. Now, I personally, I'm familiar name wise with the people involved, but y'all know me. I'm not getting ready to get into that whole, I'm not doing none of that. But I'm pointing out a scenario that obviously has taken place and someone felt slighted. But here's the thing. Because of the circumstances, I believe that if a person comes to a promoter's event, and see, and here's the problem. There are promoters out here who do things, say things that are inappropriate, especially after their events begin to kind of take off a little bit and they start talking slick and kind of acting crazy. So that's one side. On the other hand, I don't know too many people who come to events and are disruptive and are not and are made to feel comfortable. Now, again, I don't know the whole set of circumstances, but I will say this right here. Promoters, y'all need to be very careful about how you handle your patrons. We have gotten to a place in this community where I think a lot of people have become way too comfortable, and the levels of disrespect have gone to the next level. So we're going to have to, people need to begin to pull back and really analyze and vet and be careful about what happens, how it happens, and why it happens. Now, I did ask this young lady very specifically, was there some underlying issue that was going on between you and that promoter that may have caused them to feel that they were comfortable enough to approach you that way? I don't know. But again, if I'm serving hamburgers at my restaurant and you come in and you're enjoying your hamburger, unless you're disrupting other customers, I'm not getting ready to come out and tell you I need this seat. Now, I want you to come back. I want you to continue to enjoy yourself. I think sometimes we get way too caught up in some of the very minor details of or overstep our bounds. Let me put it that way. Because for me, unless somebody is about to tell me that some crazy situation took place where this lady was being disruptive or causing a problem, there's no reason at all for a promoter to tell someone that they should get off the floor and get out of the way. And I don't care. I'm gonna be honest with you. Unless they out on the floor bumping into people and I don't care what they doing on the floor. That's their business. There's a big old push from all these people here lately. Everybody wants to mix all these dances together and call it all stepping or whatever they doing. Even they don't get harassed. So I can't imagine what would be taking place if this lady's on the floor dancing, enjoying herself, and people are asking her to dance that would cause somebody to say, hey, look, I need you to move. That's over my head. I don't get it. But I'm going to say this here. In this same sort of wheelhouse of interesting things. So I ran across this story this week, right? I'm going to put part of it on the page. I ran across this story this week where a lady, now y'all all remember when they were doing the Val Wells, thank you. She said she paid her money to attend the event. Why can't she enjoy the dance? That's it's as simple as that, Val. Val, you're a promoter, so you understand. There's not much that anyone should say to her. That's just my opinion. So this young lady, who apparently her name is Regina Willingham, and apparently she is a pastor now. Well, here in Texas, and an apostle, by the way, and she is making a continued sort of stink about having sued Hulu. She sued Hulu because Hulu did this documentary a few years ago. Y'all remember that? The Freaknik documentary that came out, and a lot of people were real nervous. Now, I used to attend some of the Freaknik events back in the day when I lived in Atlanta back in the 80s, and that was a wild time. A lot of things took place. A lot of things that, and back in those days, you got to remember, everybody wasn't walking around with a cell phone with a camera on it, but people did have great big video cameras. One thing you couldn't say was that somebody was secretly recording you, because them cameras was huge back then. You wasn't hiding. Anyway, so allegedly, she's now lost her legal battle connected to the documentary. And she says that she never gave permission for her image to be used, and that the fallout destroyed major parts of her life. In a lengthy Facebook post, Willingham said appearing in the 2024 documentary allegedly cost her leadership positions connected to churches and severely damaged her campaign for city council district representative. She also claimed the situation devastated her children and grandchildren, who were allegedly blindsided after seeing the footage and online backlash tied to the documentary. Now, this is where we're going with tonight's show. Some time ago, now y'all, we're going to put a bookmark right there. Some time ago, I did a show where I talked specifically about privacy and videotaping and photography where stepping is concerned. Number one, let's keep in mind that today there are cameras literally everywhere. Period. I've got some data that I'm going to show y'all. I'm going to talk to you about that will give you an idea of what I mean. Sandra Davis, how you doing? Thank you for checking in. Sherry Brown, how are you? Lynn John in the house. Black Knight in the building. What's going on, fam? So what I did in that last episode, it's been a couple of years now, where I talked specifically about your right to privacy. A lot of people get this sort of smug, you don't have the right to record me, you can't record me. I'm going back over this for the sake of this show and for future reference and for previous reference. You can't record me, or if you put that out here, I'm going to sue you, blah, blah, blah. First of all, let me tell y'all something about that whole line of thinking. Number one, if you want to bring a lawsuit against somebody dealing with anything of that nature, you better have 20 racks to begin with. The other thing is, let me encourage you all right off the rip. If there are things that you don't want to be brought up in your future, or things that are unfavorable in the eyes of the Lord, don't do it. Don't do it in public. 99 times out of 100, someone has a camera on you. It's somewhere there is a camera on. We are in the year 2026. How they say, the year of our Lord 2026. And no matter where you turn, there are cameras. So the controversy came up in the steppers community where there were people who would say, oh, well, I don't want to be videotaped. With all due respect, I have had people approach me, because y'all know this is what I do, and say, hey, could you do me a favor and take that down or not play that? Because for one reason or another, they may have been in a situation. They may have a work situation. They may have a spousal situation. Who knows? But there are people who have done that, and I respectfully remove, insurance. That's another one. Well, that's work stuff. No, you're right. And I respectfully remove these things for that purpose. However, as my man Kenneth Wynn just stated, don't put yourself in that position if you know you out of pocket. Now, I'm doing all of this as a precursor to get to where we're going with all of this. Let me explain the legal framework. There's a thing called reasonable expectation of privacy, which is basically a blanket across these entire United States. It doesn't matter what state you live in or where you live. If you are in public, if you're in public view, there is no reasonable expectation of privacy. The only time you are in a public place that you should expect privacy is in a public restroom. That's it. Other than that, you're fair game. You cannot turn around and say, oh, that person can't use my likeness or that person can't do this or that. Yes, they can. Now, you can try to fight it, but unless there's something that is unusually different about you or there's an exploitive nature of it, then maybe you can do something along those lines. Sheila White, you think you funny. I see you over there. She said, hey, Poppy Forbes and Brian Forbes, inside stepping, AKA the Black Factor. I digress. You funny. The Black Factor's coming back. Y'all just bear with me. Like I told y'all, we're working on a new studio right now. There's a lot happening. As soon as when I told you, look, at the beginning of the show, I say things is thangin'. We just, y'all bear with me. We coming. So let me read this to you. Legal framework for recording in public places. In Chicago, and I'm going to use Chicago specifically because that's, Mecca, home of the stepping world. We'll just use that as an example. In most of the United States, photography and videography in public spaces are generally legally permitted. There is no reasonable expectation of privacy when you are in a public place like a park, sidewalk, or public dance venue. This means photographers and videographers can legally capture images of people dancing in public settings without obtaining explicit consent in most cases. Okay? However, Chicago has specific ordinances that place some restrictions on recording in certain contexts. Chicago Municipal Code, Section 8-4-125, addresses use of cell phones, cameras, camera phones in public privacy areas. Though the exact restrictions aren't fully detailed in the available information, Section 18-4-126 covers unauthorized video recording and live video transmission with specific focus on, here we go, for the perverts, upskirting and related offenses. For those of you who don't know what upskirting is, you have some perverts out here who literally will go around trying to put their cameras on the floor or on their foot. I know that shit sounds crazy. To get shots of a woman's private area. I'm being politically correct here. Nefariously. And so there are laws against that, of course, because you come in the stepper set and somebody catch you doing it, you're gonna get your ass whooped. Let's just keep it a buck. So, somebody gonna break your neck. Jericho Dance 8 says, thanks. Why I took a break from stepping. I couldn't do both. I know that's right. So how does that impact the steppers community? Now, we have people who love being in the spotlight. They love being on camera. They love when the cameras come out. And then we have those who shrivel up when the cameras come out. This is a very fine line, and this is an area where we all have to, I guess, this is where your human side comes into play. Because as a person with a camera, there should be some level of decorum and should have some sensitivity to those who do not want to be videotaped. There have been times where I didn't want to be videotaped, and I know there may be some irony in there, but I literally would stop dancing. I've done it. I don't blame the individual with the camera because that's what they want to do. They feel like they want to capture someone's dance. I've been around people who are accustomed to being on camera who have asked me not to post something that I may have recorded or not to, leave a live up. And I honor that. And I think that we should all be as courteous to one another to some degree. Now, don't get me wrong. April Grant says, let's just cut to the chase. If you ducking and diving, shucking and jiving, stay at the crib. April, I agree. 150%. I do. Treasy, fantastic. How you doing? Thank you for checking in. Hey, Deborah Edwards. My man Dennis Howard Hodges says, idiots are real. That part. There will be a pumpkin head, most definitely. Yeah, you already know. Man, Dennis Hodges, Pastor D, you know, you from the old school. You understand. We understand certain things. You know, there's a lot of disrespect that takes place on this set these days that would have not been tolerated in the times when we come up, and he came up even before me. So you absolutely know. I learned from people like him, and I'm telling y'all this, certain things just would not be flying out here the way they are now. Brandon Gaynor says, absolutely read the room, even if you have good intentions. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, and Riri says, I backed up a bit, but still love traveling. Yeah, I do. I agree too. I'm going to tell y'all, a lot of people going to probably be pissed off with me. I really, at this point, I don't even give a damn. But I'm going to keep it a buck with y'all. I'm getting to the point where all of these sets across the country, y'all need to start focusing on going to Chicago. Real talk. Because it's gotten way out of hand. Too much going on. Too many people doing stuff that just don't have nothing to do with the dance. And if you really want the purity of the dance, you need to go home. You need to go to the house, go to Chicago, hang out. You'll spend way less money. You have a way better time. You get way better dances. And you can go back home and say that you had a great time and be done with it. Because trying to gather a bunch of people from all over the country into one space and everybody's doing it and travel is getting too expensive. It's just too many dynamics at play, too many people beefing with each other. Just go to Chicago. Real talk. Just stop wasting y'all's money with these big events. Now, Illinois has the Biometric Information Privacy Act, the BIPA, Biometric Information Privacy Act, which requires informed consent before collecting biometric information like facial recognition data. Why am I talking about facial recognition data? Let me tell y'all something. Big Brother is watching. And I'm talking about on a large scale. Y'all just pay attention, stay tuned. I'm getting ready to tell you. The benefits for those who enjoy being recorded. You got increased visibility, for the dance form and individual dancers. You got the opportunity to build a personal brand, which a lot of people have done and are doing. You got documentation of performances for portfolio purposes, for people to say, hey, look at my dance. Let me go to YouTube, pull my name up, boom, bam, potential for monetization through social media platforms, of course, same thing. Preservation of dance moves and styles for future generations, because the more we archive what's happening and taking place right now, the more the future has the opportunity to remain rooted and hold on to the traditions and the purity of the culture and the history. And for me personally, I take that one personal, because that's what I am attempting to do with Inside Stepping. That's what Inside Stepping was all about. Now, on the flip side of that, the unforeseen pitfalls. Dennis Howard Hodges, he says, it has totally gotten out of hand. Either go to Chicago or call it another dance. Boom. That's it. That's bottom line. I'm really tired of all this other stuff. Everybody, I heard another story today about somebody changing some count and all this. Look, man, just stop. Listen, we don't care what you can change this. You can flip that, do whatever you want, but call it something else. Leave stepping alone. Stepping ain't bother nobody. The dance will always win. You can't change stepping. You can't improve it. You can't evolve it. You can't do nothing with it. Give that stuff that you doing or teaching or learning or whatever it is a whole other name. We don't care. I promise you we don't, because steppers gonna step. Kim Davis say everybody is watching. That's a fact. Val Wells says many times you are unaware you're being filmed until someone says something or it shows up on a Facebook page. Absolutely correct. Now, the unforeseen pitfalls of being videoed. Loss of control over how images are used once they're shared online. Because we know for a fact we have people in this community who like to take people's pictures and create their own narrative and make up lies. It's unfortunate, but this is something was happening. Potential for videos to be used in context dancers did not approve. Again, creating narratives with people's images that they choose to create. Risk of images being altered or misrepresented. We've seen a lot of that lately. People taking other people's pictures and manipulating them. AI is a beast, y'all. The possibility of being recorded without knowledge when the cameras are ubiquitous. For those of you who are not aware of what ubiquitous means, they are everywhere. And there's nothing you can do about it. They have permeated the soul of our society, and we are stuck with these cameras. Unless there's some new law that comes out and they take away cameras like they want to, like they take away guns if they had the opportunity, it'd be a different, we living in a different time, y'all. Now, keep in mind that the story that I just talked to you about with the young lady from the Freaknik situation, who is now a pastor. And this is where you got to be careful. We have all these images out here. I got a ton of images out here. We don't know what's coming. We don't know what next technology is coming down the pipe. She'd had no idea in 1980, whatever, or it might have even been in the 90s, in 80, whatever, when she did these videos, because she's now 55, that social media and the proliferation of the use of images and video from a time when we didn't have all of this will come to pass. It's kind of like tattoo regret. You got people who, when they were young, ran out here and they went and got tatted up and all these tats, and then all of a sudden they had to become an adult and they realized, oh shit, I can't get a job with all this crap on me. It's kind of the same thing. You got to be careful what you do. And I want to say from a young age, but let's just keep it a buck. We got some grown ass folks out here doing things that are going to come back and get them, especially when it comes to this social media. Oh, baby, your day coming. Got to be careful. Oh, you got to be careful. Because guess what? The internet is undefeated and it ain't going nowhere. Everything you do online will live in infamy. Ooh, baby. Now, the pitfalls, loss of control over how images are used once they're shared online, potential for videos to be used in contexts dancers didn't approve, risk of images being altered or misrepresented. I did all of these. Okay, so anyway, for those who prefer privacy, the challenges, difficulty participating in public stepping events without being recorded. That's hard. Now, on the flip side of that, most of the people who don't have a problem being recorded are people they're generally people that are just out here on the floor doing their thing and they don't care. They want to be seen, so it's not a big deal. But then you have those who really nobody wants to look at anyway, but those are usually the ones complaining. Kim Davis says she knew it was wrong when she did it. What's done in the dark comes to light. But Kim Davis, was it wrong? See, here's again, in the time when she was doing that, she was one of hundreds of thousands of black women, young black girls out there hanging out and doing their thing. Nobody thought anything about it. But did she know in her head at that time that she was going to become a pastor and an apostle? And that her kids and grandkids might one day see the footage of her out here cutting up, shaking her booty and her tatas out, just acting a fool with a bunch of guys, that kind of thing. She was young. It happened. Now, my problem with her complaint and her gripe is that for me, this is a opportunity, a testimony for what I just said a minute ago. Take what happened to you and educate your members, your flock, your followers, to be careful, because here's what can happen to you. Yes, that was me. Yes, I gave my life to the Lord, whatever. But this is a teaching moment, not a moment to complain, to try to hide what you did in the past. Maybe that speaks volumes about your character now, because I don't know any pastors. I got one on the show right now. I don't know any people who had a past, who did things in their past that are now preaching the word, that are giving people the guidance and uplifting them from places that they were in their past, who will sit up and try and pretend like they weren't that person. I know dudes are straight up killers that's out here right now preaching the word. You can't run from your past. You should not try to run from it. It's what made you who you are today. Even if you're a bad person, your past is what made you who you are. Let's keep it a buck. Now, some folks are shy about what they did and, they feel ashamed and that kind of thing, and that's fine. But this is a teachable moment. That's what should be happening right now. Let's see. April Grant says, so she can make a case even though so much time has passed. Yeah, well, that's a matter of, I think she made the case. She was able to make the case because the footage had just came up and this was an ongoing, the lawsuit was to try to keep the documentary from coming out. So, yeah. Let's see. Hey, Deborah Edwards. Vanilla drop in the building. Now, thank you, Bridget, right here. She says, well, at the end of the day, God saw her then and he sees her now. He has forgiven her. And there you go. That's it right there. Bottom line. Dennis Howard Hodges said, Pastor D in the building. He said, no, she probably didn't know. God called us when he calls. I did some things in my past that I should have done time. God does what he does when he does it. That's it. That's the bottom line right there. And so this should not be that, but it is, and that's what happens. Now, moving forward, the challenges, participating in public events. If you're a person that's got some sort of, some people are just shy. Some people don't want to be seen, and that's fine. And I also know this. Let's keep in mind now, we all know how the structure of the dance floor is. If you at a place like the 50-yard line, really all you got to do is bury yourself in the crowd. It's going to be, it's enough people on the floor. Ain't nobody really going to be like trying to videotape you. You're in the middle of the floor. If you're on the edge of the floor, it's more likely that you'll be videotaped. At most sets, if they have any kind of a decent crowd, if you place yourself in between a camera and someone else, 9 times out of 10, or on the other side of someone else, you're not going to get videotaped. You have to be strategic about it. And I know that may seem like a lot, but then at the same time, it is what it is. You got to do what you got to do. Kim Davis said, Big Mama told us, don't let your past precede you in life. That's right. Absolutely correct. Now, said, let's see, limited liability to control one's image in public spaces, pressure to conform to community norms that may favor documentation, or feeling excluded from opportunities that come with visibility. Now, I'm going to just say this here. Y'all know I'm always in the spot with a camera because that's what we do at Inside Stepping. You got other people who want to take videotape for other nefarious activities and, just want to try and make their own clout off somebody else. We do it as a showcase for the dance. To be honest with you, being from Chicago, one of the things that y'all need to understand culturally about Chicago folks, in Chicago, nobody is important. Here's what I mean. Outside Chicago, there are individuals who live in Chicago who are popular, if you will, and they go to these different cities and people put them on pedestals and give them these accolades and, oh, that's so-and-so, that's so-and-so, and they treat them like royalty. Nothing wrong with that. Everyone has to have their, I don't want to say idols because that's kind of, pagan, but everyone has the people that they admire, and there's nothing wrong with that. But when you start becoming a fan and you start putting them on these pedestals of untouchable sort of behavior, now you're doing too much. Because in Chicago, don't nobody give a damn who you think you are. You still that dude from around the way that we've been knowing. You dig? That's just what it is. And it's a shame sometimes that people put so much stock in individuals and their popularity that they miss out on other things. Edie Ewing, how you doing, babe? Good to see you. She said, if you don't reach out and touch me, then it sure wasn't me. I know that's right. So you know, we need to get, you know, I'm all for people being great at what they do. I'm all for all of that. But I need y'all to understand something very, very clearly and very closely. If you remember Michael Jordan, the basketball player, people idolize the man. Oh, that's Michael Jordan. That's Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan can walk up in the club in Chicago. He get treated just like everybody else. Trust me on this. I was there for many years. But people put him on this pedestal like he that dude. He's my idol. He's this. He's that. But Michael Jordan never asked to be made a role model for anything. He's a dick. Let's keep it a buck. You roll up on him with that fandom. I mean, he's used to it, but he don't care nothing about that. And I'm saying that to say that sometimes just because people are popular doesn't mean they embrace always doing the right thing, always walking the line and how you doing today and being all prim and proper. That's just not a thing with some folks. Be careful who you elevate, because everybody don't need to be or want to be or deserve to be elevated. That's all I'm saying. Now, DJ Shorty Smooth in the building. What's happening, family? Good to see you. So we got to be careful about how we navigate around this thing. You know, folks is great. They do their respect. You know, you're a good dancer, man, you're a cold dancer. Don't necessarily make you a good person. I mean, that's just the reality. Now, the future context with past recordings and new technology. Now, there are videos out here from steppers from years and years ago that are starting to resurface. Something recorded publicly years ago could resurface unexpectedly in the future due to changes in personal circumstances or public roles. Now, let's say, for example, somebody in the community that's young all of a sudden start running for office, or some other wonderful thing happens to them and suddenly they're in the spotlight. Guess what's going to happen? That old footage, those old photos, they're going to pop up. Oh, baby, they're going to pop up. Smooth A Stepper says, good evening, Brian and Poppy Forbes. I am doing a ministry now, but I'm very transparent about my past, especially with my stepping experience. I agree with your past should be a teaching moment for those who don't deal with God to show them. If God will take me, God will take anyone. Thank you for your testimony. I appreciate that. Let me give y'all an example of the stuff that resurfaces. I remember there's a rapper out now called Lotto. Lotto. What does she call herself? She called herself Lotto because her name used to be Miss Mulatto. That was her name. I have video and photos of that young lady when she was 13, 14? Performing. I've got hip hop gold. Fortunately, I remember her mom and dad. I remember her parents. They were very present in her career from the word go. So she was not in a position where she was doing anything that she shouldn't have been doing, especially at that age, thankfully. I am not necessarily a fan of her music today, but she has gained an incredible amount of popularity and she is doing well in her career. But the point is, I have the footage. I have video. I have photos. My daughter at one point was running a website that dealt with hip hop. And the name of it was Half Past Dope. And she interviewed lots of up and coming rappers at the time who are now quite famous, who have done really well for themselves. And we've got footage of them acting up and cutting up sideways and doing stuff. But I mean, we talking about rappers, so, you know, you can expect that anyway. But the point is still this, stuff resurfaces. You got to be more careful. There are photos that people have that may not be as savory that could resurface. Thankfully, there are laws in place now that keep people from exploiting these sorts of things, if you will. Gwendolyn Ferris says, do you think our black culture has influenced how we are acting in our communities as it is excusable? And is it excusable? I don't know so much about it being a black culture thing. I think that it is a societal thing. And I think that we as a society of people, no matter what the gender or race is, people act according to the way what is acceptable within a society. That's why we have to be careful what becomes normal, what we normalize. When we normalize bad behavior and we normalize certain things, they become part of the fabric of our culture. And that's why me personally, and I know other people who are following along in the same sense that I am right now, we're tired of the normalization of the disrespect in the steppers community and the normalization of people thinking that they need to evolve the dance and they need to bring all these other dances in and doing all this other stuff. See, all that's being normalized. I don't like it. And I'm going to push back on it. And there are several other people who I know who are also pushing back on it because it is now becoming something else. Well, the dance ain't gonna never. Y'all heard the song when the show came on. The dance will always win. The dance ain't going nowhere. It's gonna be here. The question becomes how many people will still be doing it in 20 more years. They may be doing something else, and I don't care if they do something else. Just don't call it stepping. Do what you do. That's your business. Jody Nickerson, how you doing, dear? She said, God has never used the perfect person in the Bible anyway. Now, that's a fact. There you go. And you would think that a person who was an apostle, a person who was a pastor, would use those examples of how God moved through people who were the worst of the worst. I mean, that's just what he did. He used them as they were perfect examples of change, of his glory, his grace, if you will. Changes in personal circumstances or public roles, shifts in social attitudes toward certain dance styles or expressions, new technologies that can enhance or alter old footage, AI, increased digital archiving and search capabilities, technological advancements, emerging technologies that may impact the stepping community include enhanced surveillance. Now, this is where I'm getting ready to double back to how we started the show when I was talking about Chicago in particular and the fact that no matter where you go today, there's cameras everywhere. I can walk through my neighborhood right now, and I think that there may be 3 houses that don't have some form of a camera on the front that I can see. It don't mean they're not there. But putting it like this, you literally cannot walk, drive, or anything through a neighborhood today without, say, for example, law enforcement being able to put a timeline together of where your car was at any given time just by following those cameras. Now, I'm going to read something to y'all. I'm going to blow you away. Peep this. Enhanced surveillance. Chicago has developed one of the most advanced surveillance systems in the world, with over 50,000 cameras active throughout the city. The private sector initiative grants police access to cameras from private businesses. Though the specific business and locations remain unknown. A proposed ordinance, now this is proposed, 2025-0018186, would require installation of surveillance cameras at licensed premises open to the general public. This could affect stepping events held at such venues. In other words, you won't be able to go into a place and step without the cameras rolling. These people would not be able to get liquor licenses. They would not be able to get business licenses or any of that without the ordinance being in place within their establishment, and they have no choice. That is a proposal now. It hasn't happened yet. Facial recognition technology. This is where we go back to what I talked about earlier, where you lose control of images and things of that nature. And this is where the biometric part comes in. the BIPA. The Chicago Police Department has been criticized for using facial recognition technology that critics say is radically biased and invades residents' privacy. There are calls to ban this technology. Illinois BIPA requires informed consent before collecting biometric information, but some Chicago ordinances would allow businesses to collect such information without consent by merely posting notices. Now, when you go in the 50-yard line, for example, there are signs, as was stated earlier, you may be videotaped or video recorded. Michael Farr, my man DJ Shorty Smooth, said the city of Chicago would ask access to systems that I had installed. Absolutely. Deep fakes and AI manipulation. Sheila White mentioned this a little earlier. Okay, and the reason I didn't say anything about your comment, Sheila, was because I knew I was coming to this. The deep fakes and AI manipulation. I have been manipulated with AI myself and another longtime friend of mine, because we have nefarious people in this community who think that that is acceptable and there are no consequences. The ability to create convincing but entirely fabricated videos could potentially misrepresent dancers or their performances. AI-powered video enhancement could make old footage clearer and more widely shareable. Automated content recognition could make it easier to track individuals across multiple videos and platforms. In other words, don't do nothing you ain't supposed to be doing. But see, this is the dangerous part about this is that it's kind of like if the police roll up on you and say, do you give me a consent to search? And you're going to say no. You better say no. But it's almost like you're basically giving away your rights, whether you like it or not. And no matter where you go, you can be tracked and watched if that's a thing. So, like, be good, y'all. Practical considerations for the steppers community. Now, this is where this is where y'all need to pay attention. My promoters especially. Promoters, please pay attention to this part. Establish clear norms. The community could develop explicit guidelines about when recording is appropriate and when it isn't. Now, that would require organization among steppers, which we have none. We have no standardization, no organization, no type of, we only have our etiquette, which most people don't even respect or adhere to now, so nobody gives a damn. So everybody do what they want because it don't affect them. It hasn't knocked on their door, so they don't defend anything. And they don't care. They stand on the side and watch until it happens to them. Then they want everybody to jump up and down because that's the way we operate. Now, promoters, designated recording areas. Events might create specific zones where recording is permitted and others where it's prohibited. That would give people the opportunity to dance and be comfortable. They should be comfortable in knowing that at that place and time and in that point that no one has a camera on them and they can dance in that section where there's another area and it could just be one half of the floor, whatever. This is the video section. That section down there, the cameras are not allowed. I think that's a great addition. I know it's kind of vague, but I think it's possible. And I think that would be a fantastic idea, to be honest. Consent practices, even when not legally required, obtaining consent shows respect that builds community trust. I think that a promoter could even, but see, promoters want the publicity, so they want people to record. That's again, go back to the branding part. But they could give an event and say, hey, no cameras allowed in here. We don't want no videotape. We don't want no. Put your phone down. You come here to dance, have a good time and go home. I would love to see that, to be honest with you. Even though I do what I do, I think that would be a great thing because it would cause people to focus on what they're there for and not all the BS that other people come there for. Digital literacy, educating community members about privacy settings, rights, and how to request removal of content. Alternative documentation, finding ways to preserve the dance form without necessarily focusing on identifiable individuals. That's a bit much. Let's see. Michelle Frazier says we are already tracked, watched, and monitored from the satellite in space, whether you stepping or even in your own home. I'm just saying. Oh well, yeah, they doing whatever they do whatever they want. Hey, Kim Shelton, how you doing, my dear? Balancing preservation and privacy. The stepping community faces a tension between wanting to preserve and promote their cultural expression while respecting individual privacy or preferences. This balance requires ongoing conversation as technology evolves and the legal frameworks change. What works today might need adjustment tomorrow as new recording capabilities emerge and social norms shift around digital presence and content. So again, you guys, we have to be mindful of everything that is going on. Let's see. Automated recognition systems. Okay. AI can now identify specific dance moves. Now, y'all listen here. This is important. AI can now identify specific dance moves, styles, and individual dancers across thousands of hours of footage. Y'all remember? Have y'all seen that video where they're doing that? What is that Merc, no Merc, and all of that dance? All you had to do was put your picture up there, and AI would make you do that dance. They had an app for that out recently. So here you go. Michael Farr says a lot of instructors will not allow recording of their workshops. You know what, DJ Shorty Smooth, DJ SS, it's not going to matter in a minute. And here's why. Jerry Palmer, King of Swing in the building. What's going on, my man? Here's why it's not going to matter. The cat is already out the bag. And AI is here. It's not going anywhere. There are a lot of people upset with the capabilities and power of AI at this point because people are not accustomed to not having control, and that something that powerful is able to do what it does. But here's the simple fact, Mr. Farr. All anyone has to do, I don't even know if I should say this, is take video clips from stuff that's already out here, place them into, let's just say, a basket, into a thing, and plug it in to AI. It literally can create an instructional video. It can create a person that none of us know or ever heard of that can lay the dance out damn near as good or better than some of the individuals who are supposed to be teaching the dance that are not that good at it. I'm just going to keep it a buck. A lot of people, especially men, would love to be able to use video to learn the dance. There are people who have tried to teach through video and through these type of platforms, and some are successful, but that depends on their students. But simple fact is, we are no longer in control of anything that goes on in this arena. Those days, that ship done sailed. If they could take the moves that comedian did and put them on anyone with a simple app, with a little bit of AI, what do you think could be done with the stepping? Now, let me get down to it. I'm gonna show you right quick because I definitely did the homework on this today. Let's see. This allows for the creation of comprehensive databases of stepping techniques without dancers' consent. Commercial entities could potentially license these databases without compensating the original dancers. Now, you know how we've been talking for years about this dance being co-opted. Angie Fain, hey, baby. You know what? I meant to call you today. I'm going to talk to you later on. Don't forget. We talked about this dance being co-opted by them clear folks. AI is the new clear folks. What's to stop someone, because we have sat up there and dropped the ball and not organized and not put things into place for decades. Somebody else sees this and says, there's an opportunity. And they take it and use AI to do it. Who's going to stop them? You worried about them folks. Here's your problem. Here's the real problem. Commercial entities could potentially license these databases without compensating the original dancers or anybody involved. AI systems can analyze movement patterns to predict future behavior or preferences. Insurance companies might use such data to assess risk profiles of individuals. Employers could potentially access this information when making hiring decisions. Deepfake technology, the ability to create convincing but entirely fabricated videos of people dancing. This could be used to create unauthorized performances featuring specific dancers. The authenticity of dance documentation becomes increasingly questionable. Y'all see where I'm going with this? The Big Brother connection from dance to daily life. Michelle Frazier says Big Brother's simple, and it can't be stopped. It's over. Sheila White, AI, fake intelligence, root word, artificial. Yeah, well, it could be the root word. But you know what I hate, you know what I have to say, Sheila, about that is that some of us lack intelligence on such a level that they have a very difficult time discerning between real and fake. Some people are quite happy with fake, being fake, fake people, fake bags, fake this, fake that. They're quite happy with fake. So just because it's fake, don't mean it don't have an audience. Y'all remember, I always tell y'all, there are people around, and I'm going to use it specifically in this community. I don't care how bad they are. I don't care how foul they are. People are going to follow them. I don't care how good they are. People are going to follow them. Because everybody has some sort of an agenda or something that they get that dopamine hit from something, good or bad. They're going to have people that follow them. People love fake folks. They get a kick out of that shit because they fake themselves. They enjoy it. That's just what it is. Yes, Sheila White, the name of the book is 1984. Absolutely. Big Brother is watching. If y'all, for my less educated folks, if you just want to have a good read and you want to really trip out and look at some of the ironies and the things that are taking place right now today, pick that book up. 1984. Yeah, baby. April Grant said, I said this in 1998. It's coming. Shaking my head. Someone else will amass the big bucks from our dance. Matter of fact, had nightmares about it. Yep, it's coming. It's coming, especially now. And we've done nothing to stop it. Reggie Miles says it's time to focus on ancestral intelligence too. Yeah, Reggie, these people don't even want to know what happened yesterday. They don't want to hear it. They're not interested. That's just where we are today. The surveillance of stepping events exists within a border of context of increasing monitoring in American society. What begins as documentation of cultural expression can become part of a larger surveillance apparatus that affects multiple aspects of our lives. Big Brother Bruce in the building. I see you, my man. The financial implications. Insurance. Insurance companies might use dance footage to assess physical fitness or lifestyle risks. Banks could potentially access such information when evaluating loan applications. Employment opportunities might be affected by perceived lifestyle choices captured on video. Social credit systems, while not formal formalized in America, an informal social credit system already exists through background checks. Public behavior captured on video can have long-term consequences for opportunities. The permanence, excuse me, of digital records means youthful expression can affect adult life. See, again, y'all, it can all come back to get you. Corporate entities could use AI to analyze and replicate stepping movements without community involvement. The commercialization of culturally significant dance forms without proper compensation or attribution. The potential for traditional dances to be trademarked by entities outside the community. Yeah. The stepping community faces critical decisions about how to navigate this increasingly surveilled landscape. Excuse me, y'all. Michael Farr says there is already an instructional video doing so-called stepping, and none of us are in it. There you go. It's already happening, y'all. The cat is out the bag. The cattle done left the ranch. It's on and cracking. And I blame no one but those who, because I'm going to just be honest with you. We got people right in Chicago who have sold this dance out for a nickel or a dime. And instead of looking at the bigger picture and the millions of dollars that literally are on the table, they gave it away for a $20 dance class once a week instead of doing things on another scale. And because black folks cannot get together and find a path of structural integrity that would allow us, nobody wants to see somebody else as in power or control. Nobody wants to give away those reins and make it seem like, people don't want to get crossed out. I got to be seen. I was there. I did this and I did that. And, they got to pat themselves on the back. Nobody looks at the bigger picture, the larger scale of what's taking place in this community, and everybody wants to worry about themselves. That within itself. I fault Chicago. I fault the powers that be. I fault the people who have the license to speak on these things, who have the ability to make change, who have done nothing but sit back, collect their 20s, their twos and fews, and they're perfectly happy and content with that and that alone, and have basically sold the rest of the community down the river. Now, while I criticize them, I also have to take the position that, unfortunately, there are so many foul people in this community that it makes you not want to do anything. It makes you not care. It makes you feel like, for what? They're not going to appreciate it anyway. And anyway, even if you do it, they're going to find a way to make you the poster child for everything wrong with what you've done or whatever you've said. Do you know how many people won't come on this show, or any of the shows for that matter? Myself, Reggie Miles, even Tika, and when she was doing her interviews, and Tony Adway when he was doing interviews, Stretch, who rejected having anything to say on these platforms. One, because they had a brand of their own to protect. They just didn't want to be bothered with all of the drama that comes with it. They just wanted to stay away because they don't want the backlash that's going to come from people who have nothing, have no investment in this dance. Half of them can't dance. They talk a lot. They have a lot to say. They talk down to and about people, have contributed nothing to this community. And then people listen to it. So then people like them, and now like me, look at this whole thing and they go, for what? Why? I'm still questioning myself why I get up every Tuesday. Well, no, I know why I do it. I know why I still do this every Tuesday. But, and I've told y'all this many times, but the simple fact of the matter is this is a thankless position to be in. So I, on the other hand, on the flip side of what I just said, I don't blame them for not wanting to get involved and taking their twos and fews and walking away. Because the question becomes, where will we be in 20 years? We got all this outside influence for people who know nothing about our culture, nothing about our history, don't care, don't know the names, don't know where the bodies is buried, none of that. and got the most to say. Brand new in this game. Talking, just running off at the mouth because they heard somebody that they know told them this and somebody that they know told them that. And half of them is wrong because the people doing all the talking is new they damn self. You just want to keep it a buck. Now, there are some who still respect the game and they do what they're supposed to do. But if you just want to keep it 100, a lot of misinformation out there. A lot of people worried about their own status, their own, who am I? I want to be seen. I'm the big dog on the block. You'll still get your kidneys kicked out. I'm just saying. Now, something interesting came through when I was figuring all this out. Technological countermeasures. I know that's going to sound crazy, y'all, but check this out. The development of privacy-enhancing clothing or accessories that confuse facial recognition systems. Now, I can't imagine what that would be outside of just straight up wearing a mask, but I'm just saying. Community created safe spaces with technology that blocks unauthorized recordings. Promoters, you want to stop a bunch of nonsense? They do have technology out here. They're blockers, scanners that you put in a room and it blocks any transmissions of certain things. It definitely is not a bad idea. Real talk. I'd rather see people go back to just straight up dancing, no cell phones even allowed in the damn room, to be honest with you. I know I do inside stepping and I got cameras. You know what? I'd be happy to go to a set and ain't no damn cameras. Real talk. And everybody is there doing one thing. Socializing, dancing. That's it. If you wasn't there, you wasn't there. Period. That's it. Digital watermarking systems that authenticate community-approved footage. In other words, you can't put something up that like a promoter. I'm trying to think. It was some event that I went to, and the promoters were very adamant about nobody taking video or pictures. And there was an authorized photographer and authorized videographer. I think that's a good idea. But, I mean, you can't stop people from doing what they want to do with their camera. But, like, you go to some concerts, or what is it, comedy clubs, things like that. That's a no-no. They're not doing that. So you got to be careful. Like, don't get caught with your cell phone at the movie theater. Legal protections, advocacy for stronger biometric privacy laws like Illinois, pushback against ordinances that expand surveillance without community input, development of cultural preservation laws that protect the traditional dance forms. Community norms, we need to have those, but we cannot seem to pull it together just on the most basic filing of a corporation that says this is the National Steppers. I believe like Reggie Miles had the one, the Society for Steppers, Boppers, and Walkers, whatever it is. But the point being that it being the governing body, or what is recognized as a governing body on a corporate level that allows sponsorships to be brought in and other things that would create an environment where the dance could move forward in a proper state with foundation, with actual legs, and not just a bunch of, you know what Chicago stepping is? No, I don't know. Never seen that. You know what it is? Oh yeah, I know what it is. Oh, I ain't going over there. I heard they crazy. I heard, man, them people toxic. You know how many times I heard that? He was like, man, you don't want to fool with them steppers. It's a damn shame. But it's true. I ain't making nothing up. I say, you can't make this shit up. I ain't made this up. Community norms, establishing clear guidelines about when and where recording is appropriate, creating designated recording-free events and spaces, developing systems for collective consent rather than individual opt-out. The broader implications for society. What happens in the stepping community reflects larger societal trends. As surveillance becomes ubiquitous, all communities will face similar challenges. The erosion of informal spaces where people can express themselves without documentation. the transformation of spontaneous cultural moments into permanent digital records, the potential for AI to analyze and predict behavior based on movement patterns, the increasing difficulty of maintaining privacy in public spaces. The stepping community's response to these challenges could serve as a model for other cultural groups facing similar surveillance pressures. Their experience highlights the tension between preserving cultural expression and protecting individual privacy in an age of unprecedented monitoring capabilities. Y'all. Conclusion. Dancing while being watched. The future of Chicago stepping will be shaped by how the community navigates the complex landscape of surveillance technology. What was once an informal cultural expression now exists within a framework of constant potential documentation and analysis. The community's ability to preserve the authentic spirit of stepping while adapting to these technologies and realities will determine whether the dance form continues to thrive as a living cultural expression or become another commodified and monitored aspect of modern life. As we move further into an era of ubiquitous surveillance, all communities will face similar questions about authenticity, privacy, and cultural preservation in the digital age. The stepping community's experience offers valuable insights into these broader societal challenges and potential paths forward. Woo! Y'all feel me? So here we are, y'all, in a time and a place and a space where we literally are being watched. Our every move, our every waking moment, our every opportunity to express ourselves and be free within our ability to do what it is that we want in the dance. And we always got to worry about whether or not a video, a picture that's going to be misused will pop up. April Grant, she says, eliminate filming, obliterate AI. Yeah, well, that's it. Hey, Jan Wilson, how you doing, dear? Good to see you. Barry Heilich in the building. He said, all this is fake now. Yes, Barry, I know you are a purist, an authentic, original purist, and I like that about you, brother. Martina Dees, how are you? Dory Payne in the building. How you doing? So, you guys, I've said a lot tonight. I knew tonight's show was going to run long because we had a lot to cover. I think that is enough information. I am suffering from information overload at the moment. But I did want to put these things on the table because we have entered into a new era which I do not believe personally we are really fully aware of what's next. I don't believe that we are on top of the technology, because you got to remember something. By the time the public sees or hears about some of the things that are out here, it's already been out here for a while. And I fear that we are always late to the party. And in this case, it makes me wonder, is the dance in jeopardy because of technology? I can tell you this, though. If by some unknown way we do not solidify the groundwork, the basics, the importance of this cultural portion of our lifestyle soon, only one of two things is going to happen. One, it's going to disappear. It'll be gone forever. It will no longer be viable on a national scale. People in other cities will begin to do other things that they want to call stepping, and they'll be happy doing it. Chicago will continue to step, as they always have and will continue to. Although I fear that not as many young people are coming into the dance as once did. It will die out as we know it. Or someone using some of this technology that we have discussed tonight will take this away from us all on a grander scale, on a larger scale, on a larger level. They will co-opt, they will organize, they will incentivize this thing. And if you think some of these older people who've been around the dance are pissed off now because their name doesn't get said, so many things and so many folks are going to get swept under the rug and away and never to be heard of again, the same way throughout the history of this republic. Black folks have been left off the rolls, out of the history books, for the amazing accomplishments and things that they have contributed to the betterment and the power that this country wields today, without whom we would not be where we are. Facts. And that's not something, you got people about, well, what if black people didn't do it? Hey, baby, all I can tell you is you better get your education, because we are responsible for so much stuff that people have no idea we are responsible for in this country. And it will get swept away, and it will not be in the history books on a grand scale. It will not be told or taught that where this dance came from or what it is or why it is. We will be in a completely different space, and we will be standing on the sidelines, like always, trying to figure out what just happened. They're going to kick the legs right out from under this. And all I'm going to say is, at that point, will I be pissed off? Yeah. But you know what I'm going to say? I told you. Told you it was coming. I told you it was coming. Here's the sad part, because I'm sitting here thinking to myself, I'm complaining and I'm talking slick, right? And I guarantee you somebody, one of y'all is sitting there right now like, well, why don't you do it? Why don't Brian Forbes, why don't Brian and Poppy do it? You know why? I'm going to tell you why. Because even if we tried it, we will get more pushback from people who are not going to do it than we will from people who are going to say, come on, let's do it. It's sad, but it's true. What are he talking about? He don't know what he doing. He wasn't there in 74. You're right. I was 9. I'm just saying, this is how we operate. The first person who decides to pick up the mantle and actually try this is going to have to fight to do it. They got to fight their own people before fighting to make sure that it goes through. Because too many people want to be involved in something, but they don't want to do the damn work. Everybody want to be a gangster till it's time to do some gangster shit. I love y'all. But just tell me when I'm lying. Stop me. Stop me when I'm lying. We got to do better, y'all. Somehow, some way, somewhere, somebody has to decide that this is going to happen and make it so. And I reluctantly will sit here and say that if someone asks for my assistance in trying to help facilitate something like that, whatever part that I might be able to play or role that I might be able to help on a collective, I would be more than happy to. But the wind is leaving my sails. Real talk. Dan Land Pro in the building. What's going on, brother? Speaking of which, we're going to have Mr. Dan Land on for next week's show, you guys. We're going to talk media. He is one of the pioneers of Step in Media, and somebody who literally, he made a comment to me that is in direct line with what I said last week about someone else will soon take up the mantle of what I do, the way others have taken up the mantle of the things that he did before me and take it to the next level. And I look forward to seeing that. Because we carry it as far as we can. We carry the load as far as we can carry it, and then it's time to pass it off to someone else, because this is more than just turning on some cameras and some lights every week. It's work. And you get to a point where I ain't gonna say you run out of stuff to talk about, because there's always something going on, but it's work on a not just on a physical level, on a mental level, on a emotional level, because when you're dealing with people who again don't want to do any work but want to reap the rewards, they don't want to sow anything but they want to reap everything, and you're dealing with the bad actors and the bad attitudes and all of these fly by night, pop in, pop out. See, that's the funny thing about this community. Do y'all know how many people have come and gone? People some of y'all have never even heard of, popped in, caused havoc, wreaked havoc, raised hell, and they're gone for a number of reasons. But that's just the way it is. No matter what's going on, you got some people, all they're going to do is ever piggyback off of something somebody else did. They can't do anything on their own. Without other people's lives, they have no life. That's how uninteresting they are. So they create problems and cause havoc and get their little 5 minutes of attention. And in the steppers community, you're not going to last long doing that. You'll raise hell. You'll be the next thing, the next scandal, the next whatever. And then you'll be gone and you'll be forgotten about very shortly. That's just how this works. None of this is new. Nothing is new. Not in this community. We've been doing this way too long, baby. I promise you. Jan P said we call it standing on the backs of others. Absolutely. Reggie, DJ Shorty Smooth said Dan Lamb Pro, the original video guy. That's right. Absolutely. And that's why I cannot wait to have him on this show and get an opportunity to interview that brother. That's going to be a very, very educational show, y'all. You need to catch up on, pay attention to that one. That's next week. All right, y'all. I got to go. I don't think I've forgotten anything. October, you guys, we will be in Houston, Texas with my girl Tina. Matter of fact, let me pull up her stuff here. We're going to be, because I told y'all I'm not, this year, we're not doing a whole bunch of stuff. I'm not up for it. I'm glad I was able to give that information. Wait a minute. Let me pull my girl's stuff up here because I want to make sure y'all get this information, because listen, when I tell y'all this is one extra fun, dang on it, what did I do with that? I got a whole folder here somewhere. Y'all gotta forgive me. I got too many daggone computers over here. Too much stuff. Let me see. What did I do with it? What did I do with it? It's right. Oh wait, wrong one. We are gonna be moving around just a little bit toward the end of the year. I ain't gonna lie, y'all. It feels it feels kind of good not to be traveling for a change. I know some people be like, "Wait, what?" Oh yeah, sometimes, man, you just want to be at the crib. Real talk, and that is exactly how I feel this year. But like I said, we got a lot of stuff. We had to kind of kick it right here around the way, because we got so much stuff happening right now. Things, like I said before, things is thangin', you dig. So Tina's 3rd annual Pink Party, the Shy High Steppers, y'all. Tina's 3rd annual Pink Party, Stepping into Healing. Now, this is a breast cancer awareness event. We had last year was phenomenal. We had a fantastic time. Now, I'm gonna tell y'all, this is one of my favorite sets. Last year, we had Carmichael. Wait a minute, doggone it. Y'all have to forgive me. I'm so behind the 8 ball on things. I got all of this stuff. This is what happens when you got too much stuff in front of you. I'm looking for. Daggone it. Daggone it, y'all. Where's what I'm looking for? Hey, why can't I find this stuff? Tina's. I had the folder right here. Damn it. Okay, anyway. I'm gonna be interviewing her here pretty quick as well. She's gonna be coming on the show. But damn it. All right, y'all gotta forgive me. This is what happens when you're ill prepared, when you're not ready. Wait a minute. Why don't I have this stuff? Anyway, we will be in Houston. I'm gonna give y'all all of the information here coming up. Because we're gonna be there for this breast cancer awareness event. And y'all, let me tell you, this event is so much fun. This woman is so vibrant and so live and so she all of that, y'all. And this party, it's a one day event. And I really don't want to make this the highlight of it because there's so much other really cool stuff that goes on. But I gotta say this. It's free. She don't charge nothing. Matter of fact, she give away most stuff. Like it's like you go there. She has these raffles and these gift giveaways, and man, I'm talking about y'all. It is a really fly set. Okay, here we go. I found it. All right. Oh, okay. This is the 4th annual. I'm sorry. I don't know why I'm looking at the old one. Okay. 4th annual Pink and Black Party, y'all. Stepping out of cancer, stepping into healing. 10/10/26. Mark that down on your calendar. If you're going to be in Houston or you're going to come to Houston and you want to hang out in Houston, 10/10/26. That's October 10th of 2026. It's one night only, Saturday. A lot of giveaways. Inside Stepping will be there. We will be broadcasting from there. It'll be one of the few places that I will actually do my thing. Last year, Carmichael was the guest entertainment. This year, it's Cardell. So y'all get ready. Ambassador Kevin Nevels will be on the ones and twos. DJ Crazy Q will be in the house. It's going to be at the famous El Dorado Ballroom, which is a very beautiful, beautiful venue in Houston, Texas. And it is this place has a deep, rich history for black folks. It's from 7 to midnight, and the party is free. Period. Food. Listen, y'all, you're going to hear more about it. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it some more. Y'all stay tuned for that. That's where we'll be next. And in fact, I think that's what's going to round out our year. And I'm going to be a happy camper. Yes, I will. Yes, I will. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I have to go. Sandra Davis, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Mr. Reggie Miles, you have yourself a wonderful evening. DJ Shorty Smooth, my girl Angie Fain in the building, April Grant, and anyone else that I have overlooked. Jan Wilson, Karen Foster, and those of you, Gwendolyn Farris, y'all have yourselves a wonderful rest of your week. And just everything tonight is food for thought. Just some stuff to think about. Just some things to make us think before we act. And before we go to these sets and spend our money, be mindful of the promoters. Make sure that they're doing everything they're supposed to do. Because guess what? If you go to a store and you buy something or you pay for something at a store, you expect to get what you pay for and not to be treated like a second-class citizen. You expect certain levels of privacy. And if the promoters of these events are not doing those things, then you should vote with your dollars. And I'm going to tell everyone good night, even the people who have deranged ideas and there's some sick folks in this community. Sicknesses I want y'all to all have a wonderful, wonderful evening. I love you, and ain't nothing you can do about it. We'll be back next week with Danland Pro. Y'all gonna want to see that show, I promise you. Daggone it. Let me see. Where's my... How do I get out of here? How do I get out of here? Here we go. Y'all, I'm gone. The views and opinions expressed in this program are not necessarily those of its hosts, Urban Arts Enterprises, advertisers, or affiliates, and are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect any views or positions that they represent. The information in this podcast is for educational purposes only and does not constitute legal or medical advice.
Yeah. Adjust your crown. Check the crease in your slacks. The wood is calling, and the rhythm don't lie. Chicago, let's glide. Yeah.
The lightning's low, music's bouncing off the walls. We're leaving the static and the drama out in the hall. Step into the room, can you smell that? The sweet perfume. The floor is nice and packed, clearing out the gloom. I see you over there catching that 8-count beat. The way you're moving, girl, you're making the air feel sweet. It's a silent conversation, a language without a sound. Just the echo of leather soles dancing on holy ground. And the world can be heavy, the world can be cold, but in this circle we got something to hold. It's a slow burn, baby, a magnetic pull. The room is vibrating, let my spirits full. So let the bass line breathe, let the melody spin. In this house of rhythm, the shadows grow thin. Through the highs and the lows, through the thick and the thin. Hand on your waist, the dance will always win. Yeah, the soul stays level while the world's in a spin. Step one, step two, the dance will always win. Yeah, yeah. It's smooth but it's lit, a fire under the ice. The way you catch that turn, yeah, you don't have to think twice. The energy's electric but we keep it refined, grown and sexy, leaving all the worries behind. It's a velvet vibration, a stepper's dream, the smoothest moves that you've ever seen. Yeah, circumvented vibrates, moving as one. We're just getting started when the day is done. From the south side lounges to the velvet light, we're the kings and the queens of the Chi-Town night. It's more than a movement, it's a state of grace. You can see the magic written on every face. Spin me around, let the healing begin. Hey, hey, hey. So let the bass line breathe, let the melody spin. In this house of rhythm, the shadows grow thin.